What is up, everyone? It is the new wave of sports that is sweeping the nation. That's right. It is Spot On Sports, where we're not just accurate, but spot on. Powered by Geek Leaks. Come, compete, conquer. Shout out Danny Martin for allowing us to use the space for the SOS Nation podcast. We are bringing this podcast back to you guys. It has been told us that we should bring this podcast back to you guys. So, me filling in for Bruce T today, punch him in his neck when I get a chance to see him. But my guy's busy. He's doing good things out here. But I'm filling in for both of us today, and we still got a good show. Don't worry, I can hold it down. Y'all know T Monk, head of SOS. All right, I should be able to hold down shows on my own. Now, couple of good things to get into today. Most of you guys out there that know me know that I am a strictly NFL based guy. Okay, football, we're going to talk football. We're going to talk a whole lot of good football and the games that happen in the NFL in Week 14. We'll also get into the NFC and AFC playoff picture. I will give you guys a couple things that I think about as far as the upcoming playoffs, which is 3 weeks away for us. We kind of know who's going, who's still in the hunt, who's in, who's out. We know all that good stuff. So, and of course, we are in Dallas. For all you Cowboy fans out there, of course, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm just saying this for SOS purposes. But we will get into the Cowboys and who would you rather face in the playoffs? Maybe Seattle. Maybe it could be the Rams. Maybe it should be Chicago, New Orleans, Minnesota. So we got a host of things that we got a chance to get into. But once again, we appreciate everyone for tuning into this show. You can catch the SOS Nation podcast every Tuesday at 7:30 at 8 o'clock. Now, depending on how long the show goes, depends on how much me and Bruce have to talk about. Okay, depending on how we feel it's a good day, we'll go a little extended period of time. If not, we'll probably keep the show about an hour and a half. But today, it will be an hour. So around the 9 o'clock hour, you can expect me to be signing out. But for now, I got some good football for you guys. Week 14 of the NFL, I want to go through a list of games that did happen in the league yesterday. Well, Sunday, excuse me. First game I want to cue in on is Steelers and the Raiders. The Steelers fell to 7-5-1. The Raiders finally winning the game. They moved to 3-10 under John Gruden's regime, and we know the thing that he is doing to clear everything out. They just got rid of the general manager McKenzie. What I say today or yesterday. Raiders won 24-21. Okay, now. The Steelers are trying to keep the Baltimore Ravens off of their heels who did fall yesterday. I want to say it was to the San Diego Chargers, so I'm correct. Then they'll be starting Lamar Jackson. But the Steelers are going to make the playoffs. Quote me on that. I don't care if you record it, do whatever it is you have to do. Know that they will be going to the playoffs. Now, where do they stand at this point now? Because we know of the up and down season they've had with running back, but then James Conner steps in and the dismissal of Le'Veon Bell, who never showed up for camp or practices or the game, didn't show up in week 7 like he said he would. But this James Conner kid comes out of nowhere, pretty much saves the team at running back, and they're still able to keep pace in the AFC. But why are they vulnerable? They're vulnerable because they don't have Le'Veon Bell, everyone. You see, James Conner is indeed the poor man's Le'Veon Bell. And I'm saying that because this kid is just a runner. Okay, 3 yards in the cloud of dust. Much like my favorite running back, Ezekiel Elliott. And that's what you want in a running back. Don't get me wrong. That's what you want. But the thing is, he's not putting the real type of pressure that a running back like Le'Veon Bell would do to a defense. He's not the guy you're going to put out when it's 5 or 4 wide, and he's going to run a curl route. He's going to run a comeback route, and he's just not pressuring defenses the way Le'Veon did. So really, in hindsight, despite the rushing efforts that this kid put in, the Steelers almost look one-dimensional. But here's the good thing about it. They did get slightly better on defense. See, yesterday's game with the Raiders came down to one thing and one thing only. The fact that Big Ben suffered a rib injury late in the third quarter, and missed nearly half the end of the game. Nearly half of which Joshua Dobbs came in. And the only thing that the Raiders needed at the end of the day was an interception. That interception that happened after Gary Conley's tip tip pass was all the Raiders needed. Literally all they needed. Because Derek Carr played a pretty decent game. Big Ben played a pretty decent game. There was not, despite the fact that neither of these teams rushed, the Steelers led 14-10 in the halftime. Big Ben took the shot early in the third. Josh Dobbs steps in. The Raiders were still sound defensively. They were still sound defensively. They got pressure when they needed to. They took Big Ben out of the game for a minute. Comments to the Raiders. Seriously. Now, come towards the end of the game, they blocked the kick, which is big for them because that was what the Steelers needed to tie, hence the 24-21 score. Now, the Steelers have to figure it out. And the thing is, they got slightly better on defense. So I might need to backtrack on what I said about them defensively. They got slightly better. Not all the way. Because they still gave up points. Derek Carr still had a good day. The best receiver he had on the field yesterday was Jared Cook, the tight end. The tight end. They traded Amari Cooper. Jared Cook had 7 receptions for 116 yards. They couldn't stop the tight end. You can say, yeah, they're missing Ryan Shazier at linebacker. Well, hey, they're still a formidable team. The Raiders probably should not have been in that position considering that Derek Carr was 34 for 25, threw for 322 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Steelers may not make as much noise because now you have teams like the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Patriots, and I'll get into the Patriots in a little bit when we covered that in the Miami Dolphins game. And the debacle that happened in the last 7 seconds with Kenyon Drake taking a 71-yard touchdown to the house to win that game. Now, I want to make a couple of comparisons between what happened with Mike McCarthy and the Packers and what might happen with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. The Steelers aren't going to fire Mike Tomlin. But if it comes down to it, he will get the slip before Big Ben does. We see what these Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterbacks do. The Packers still kept Aaron Rodgers. Of course, they signed him to that $100 million contract, but they kept him. Mike McCarthy won games. There was nothing wrong with Mike McCarthy. The relationship between him and Aaron Rodgers just soured. And that could be what's happening with Mike Tomlin and Big Ben. Things are souring. Big Ben could possibly miss Todd Haley as old offense coordinator. Things are just happening and it's just not working out for them. Hence the reason why they're 7-5-1, not to mention the 1 came from a tie game with the Cleveland Browns. The teams that we're used to seeing at the top of the AFC are no longer the cream of the crop in the AFC. Funny how that works, right? I want to move on to New England and Miami. I only have one thing to say about this game. People have been hammering Bill Belichick for having Rob Gronkowski in the back as a safety, or you might say, because the guy was preparing for what may have been a Hail Mary. Now, 90% of the time, we know if it's not a Hail Mary, it's going to be a pitch back for the next 30 or 40 yards in hopes that a team can reach the end zone. But the problem isn't Rob Gronkowski. The problem is the other 10 guys that were on defense that took bad angles, that missed Kenyon Drake, and I like Kenyon Drake. I like him. I like him coming out of Alabama. I didn't think that he'd be able to tote the rock and be a starter in Miami like he is, but the kid's pretty good. The kid's pretty good. I can't knock him. But with the Patriots, they're another team that's possibly vulnerable. They're not very good on defense, even though they are a defense that flies under the radar. Miami's a team that's going to stay in it because they've been in it the last 2 years. And all the way leading up until, they may not go to the playoffs either, but leading up until the point that it gets close, time to go, they're either going to find a way to play themselves out or they're going to jump in the wild card spot. But as far as the game yesterday, that was all on the Patriots as a whole. You want to call it bad play calling, go ahead. You want to call it something on Bill Belichick keeping his best safety on the bench and having Rob Gronkowski out there because he thought it was going to be a Hail Mary pass, go ahead. But the other 10 guys on that defense, look in the mirror, look at yourself. You were disrespected yesterday in the last 7 seconds of a game as you watch Kenyon Drake go 71 yards for a touchdown. The guy was just running through the maze. Again, are the Patriots vulnerable? Yes, they are. Just right now. But again, I still say, and I will say this again, Bill Belichick's going to turn it up when they get to the playoffs because he knows he's a coach that knows how to take the best thing away from a team. Whether they go up against the Chiefs, whether they go up against the Chargers. Lo and behold, we know what happens in every single outcome that happens with them in Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to take the best thing away, and they're going to win games. Tom Brady is used to this. Is he used to being this close and living this close on the edge score-wise as far as record-wise? No, he's probably not. But they are a team that they're going to get into the playoffs. They're still 9-4. And as long as... And Tom's at that point. He's 41 years old, everyone. He's 41. Tom's going to get at that point where he's going to need... As long as Sony Michel, James White, and Rich Burkhead stay healthy, they're going to be a good team still. Yes, Tom Brady's numbers are quite pedestrian. Rob Gronkowski is there. Lo and behold, if this man can get into the playoffs, he still got Josh Gordon. Julian Edelman's still there. They're still healthy scratches. They're going to go into the playoffs, and they're most likely going to be in the AFC Championship. Do I still think the Patriots are going to go to the Super Bowl? Yes, I do. I don't want to hear what Patrick Mahomes is doing. I don't want to hear what's going on with Phillip Rivers because these are the same quarterbacks that get into the playoffs and they botch it every single time. But who's always there? Win or lose? The New England Patriots. And that's my stance on that. Dallas and Philadelphia. How about them Cowboys? SOS was at that game. All right, so you start catching us at a couple of these Cowboys home games. We'll be there. We'll be getting hopefully, okay. Don't write me on this. Don't quote me on this yet. Hopefully, fan interviews for sure. Player interviews as well. So you may see us with the opposing team. You may see us with the Cowboys. Either or, we'll have that for you. Again, you're watching Spot On Sports, where we're not just accurate, but spot on. Is the new wave of sports that is sweeping the nation. Powered by GEEKLETES. Come, compete, conquer. This is Spot On Sports. In a moment when we get back, I'll get into that Dallas and Philadelphia game. I'll get into the Chicago and the Rams and tell you the interesting thing that no one is trying to talk about. We'll be right back in a moment. Come back to me. Come back to me. Feeling so lonely. No, what's going on, guys? We are back to SOS Nation Podcast, the new wave of sports that's sweeping the nation. It is Spot On Sports. We're not just accurate, but spot on. Powered by GeekLetes. Come, compete, conquer. Shout out Danny Martin, co-sign Innovator of the Year. Big shout out to that man right there. Danny is doing a lot of good things. He's going to do a lot of great things for this community and esports and also Spot On Sports. You'll catch us in some of that action. You know how we roll. Getting back to the games that ensued over the weekend. Dallas versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. Dak Prescott. Many of you know how I feel about Dak Prescott. He is slowly trying to gain some of my respect, but each time he gains it, he drops back, and then there's a fumble. There's some costly interception. For a guy that takes care of the football, he's been turning the ball over. But the Dallas defense knows no bounds. And the hero in a half shirt. And Amari Cooper. Alright? Look, Dak Prescott has a lot of tangibles that I like about him. The guy's a leader, He's going to work hard. And he does have a clutch gene despite how he plays for all 3 quarters in a football game. The guy wins. Most 4-quarter comebacks since he came in the league. And when you watch the guy play, you ask how, but then come 4th quarter, he's like how Tim Tebow used to be. Remember that? 4th quarter, I'm back. Tim Tebow would just pull games out of his butt crack. Much like Dak Prescott doing. I'm watching this guy. Me and Quincy standing next to me. We're in the DraftKings area in AT&T Stadium. Fans are screaming. They're going crazy behind us. For all 4 quarters, I'm watching this team. And I even texted my dad. I said, Dad, the Cowboys need to put their foot on the necks of the Philadelphia Eagles. The defense was stopping Carson Wentz. He had nowhere to go. He looked like a deer in headlights. But then on offense, and the Cowboys moved the ball. They moved the ball. But when it comes to the red zone, they're not converting. It's like Dak is having a brain fart at some point. Despite the 2 interceptions he threw. Look, the first interception, I'll give him credit on this. Rasul Douglas made a play. Mark Cooper was open. That's a touchdown. But Rasul Douglas makes the play. Second interception, Dak is a little bad on the pass intended to Michael Gallup. But here's the thing. Dak fumbled it again. That's 12, 13. I've lost count with Dak Prescott at this point. Now, here's the next question. Is Dak a franchise quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys? No. Here's why. Franchise quarterbacks are the guys you will end up eventually paying this big money to. Pocket passers, game managers, all of the above. All the tangibles. Almost does no wrong. Now, who is that? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady. Yeah, you can throw Phillip Rivers in there, although he's had his moments. So now, when it comes to Dak, is he worth $84 million like a guy like Kirk Cousins is getting? Or like a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo is getting? No, he is not. And Dak Prescott should know that too. When he gets ready to sit down and Jerry Jones gets ready to ink the pen, to put pen to paper, and gets ready to sign his contract, he needs to be like, you know what? Give me about $21 million a season. And I'm okay with that. Because Dak needs a defense. Dak needs Ezekiel Elliott. Now, don't get me wrong. Dak is a pivotal reason why the Cowboys are where they are. He hasn't turned the ball over passing-wise, though he has fumbled an absurd amount of times. He's winning these games. But why is he winning these games? Because despite him nearly throwing them out of them, if his team keeps him in the game long enough, he's going to win it. He's going to win it. Dak is like that. It's just something about the kid. Okay? I like him. Now me, I'm a Tony Romo guy. A lot of you know that. How I feel about number 9. still hurt to this day. I got a scar on my chest. But I like Dak. And he is the savior of the franchise in regards to them not having to look for a quarterback much like they did Troy Aikman. After Troy Aikman. With the whole Quincy Carter thing, Vinny Testaverde, Drew Bledsoe, and then lo and behold, Tony Romo, this undrafted kid out of Eastern Illinois, falls in their lap, and then here he comes. Then he gets hurt 10 years down the line. He's after saving it for 10 years. And then Dak Prescott in. Don't get me wrong, the kid came in as a rookie, did a lot of good things. But a lot of things was easy for him. No tape, nothing was available. Come back the next year, he didn't exceed expectations. He regressed. Ezekiel Elliott was gone, and Dak was exposed. Now, come third year, Dak's mechanics have regressed. It's either the OC, Jason Garrett, the fact that Kellen Moore is his quarterback's coach, and this guy is supposed to be better than him. As in Dak Prescott better than Kellen Moore, yet he is expected to coach Dak Prescott. How? That's why this guy's tangibles are so bad. Now I want to get to the game itself. Whoo, that defense. Leighton Vander Esch, Jaden Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jeff Heath, Wouzier, Byron Jones, the list goes on and on to the whole defense. Even the backups, Randy Gregory. This defense can play. This defense can play. And this defense is going to keep the Cowboys in a lot of games, including in the playoffs. Because this defense is going to be needed if they have to go back to New Orleans, which I don't want to go to. Hear me now. You do not want to have to go to the Superdome. Yes, you did. Yes, you did stifle Drew Brees to just 10 points. You hit him in the mouth at AT&T Stadium. At AT&T Stadium. The question is, do you trust them to go back and then hold them to another 10 points in the Superdome? A tough place to win at. Or it's hard to hear. Make calls, make audibles. I'll tell you another place you don't want to go. Soldier Field. You do not want to see the Chicago Bears in January in 12-degree weather. Not with Dak's inconsistent play. Yes, thank God you can run the ball. Thank God for Amari Cooper. And Dak's done a lot better since they traded for him. Just look at the numbers when he throws to Amari Cooper versus when he's throwing to everyone else. Thank God for Amari Cooper. And I'll come back to Dallas later on. Chicago versus the Rams. Defense. I don't want to see games where two teams are putting up 50 points apiece. The Chiefs and the Rams thing a couple of weeks ago was cool in regards to watching two teams offensively explode on each other. But I hate that. That's disrespectful to the defense. And a lot of people who have played next to me, whether it be at Carter or even the time I was playing 7-on-7 at TSU, whatever. I am defense. That is disrespectful when a team comes out and puts up 50 points. That's not cool. There's nothing cool about that. Because the other 11 guys on the other side of the line get paid too. Millions of dollars at that. Not for someone to come across. I don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if you're Jared Goff, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady. You do not slap 50 points on me. I like games when the Bears are winning 15-6 or 15-9. Cowboys are winning 13-10. Because it's the offense, it struggles. The offense is getting choked. The one thing that everyone wants to see and pay tickets for isn't working for them. Because defense, they do not get past this line. And then when you look at the Rams, 14 coming from sunny LA. And here's another thing about the Rams. Teams may be kind of figuring them out. Look at the games before when they're winning by 16 points. And then look at the last couple games for them. Winning by 2, winning by 5, winning by 3. Jared Goff has had turnovers, multiple turnovers in the last 2-3 games. Sometimes they're forgetting Todd Gurley. They did it against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs did it with Kareem Hunt. I guarantee you the Rams get the memo. Run the ball. You're getting a little comfortable depending on Jared Goff. Because Cooper Kupp isn't there. He's out for the season. I like Robert Woods. I like what they still can do offensively. But I say this every time, and this is in regards to Sean McVay. The NFL is going to catch up. Defenses get tougher. They adapt to all these offensive changes that's happening. They're going to adapt to that. They adapted every time. Come next year, a guy like Pat Mahomes will struggle. Just like Dak Prescott did. Come next year, a guy like Jared Goff could struggle again. Or at least the offense he's commandeering will struggle. Sean McVay will probably struggle. Because the NFL will catch up. And I like Chicago. This whole presence that Khalil Mack is giving to them, it's working. Prince Amukamara is playing well. This team has, 14 interceptions. They're a turnover defense. They say defense wins championships. Turnover defenses win championships. Defenses that put up points win championships. To me, honestly, between the Bears and the Ravens for the best defense in the league. I even put them over the Cowboys. That's why I say I don't want to go to Soldier Field and play them. And I talk to my cousin every time. He always tells me, bro, the Cowboys can beat the Bears. And I'm not saying they can't go there and beat them. I just don't want to go there and have to beat them. It's a difference when you're playing in a dome. And then you go off to Soldier Field and in the cold and it's 22 degrees in January, February. You have to play the Bears what they used to that. That's why the Rams weren't any good on Sunday. Because they used to play in this 80-degree sunny weather in LA. And then they get down in there in Soldier Field and they get hit in the mouth. I'm telling you, look out for these defenses come playoffs. We say, yeah, the Saints. We say, yeah, the Rams. Okay. And I'll throw Seattle in there a little bit. The Legion of Boom isn't there anymore. Earl Thomas broke his leg weeks ago. Yet they're still a slippery team. They're still a team that can cause some issues in the matchup. Beware of the teams that play good defense coming into the playoff because there are two things you're going to need to be able to run it and be able to play defense. What do the Bears have? They have Jordan Howard. And the thing is, the NFC is chock full of that. Chock full of running backs. So is the AFC more on the passing side. But when it comes to the point where teams are going to need stops because the Cowboys can move the ball. Matt Nagy and that offense in Chicago are using a rendition of what the Chiefs and Andy Reid are using because they can move the ball. Tariq Cohen, Jordan Howard. We know what the Rams and Saints can do. Russell Wilson can make plays. And I'm definitely going to get into this game next for a guy who threw 72 passing yards yesterday. That's a franchise quarterback. That's a guy who deserves somewhere between $80 and $100 million. That's a guy who's probably going to make some noise in the playoffs. Speaking of that, I'll move to Seattle and the Vikings. First thing I'm going to hit on is Kirk Cousins worth $84 million. The answer is no. No, he's not. And that's why the Redskins kept franchise tagging this man. Because he was not worth $84 million. That's the truth. We all know it. This man has Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, two receivers that are definitely going to be well over 100 yards in receptions. And over 1,000 yards. Dalvin Cook's a first-round running back. Latavius Murray is a starting caliber running back. And he's got the defense. Why can't this man make change out of $1? What's the issue? Kirk Cousins cannot win the big games, and the Vikings are going to learn that. Is it just his first year with the team? Yeah. But if Kirk Cousins is supposed to be as good as we all think he is, this shouldn't be an issue. See, when Kirk Cousins is playing from behind the chains and he's down 14 points, he's pinpoint. He's accurate. He's bow here and there. When he has to keep that lead, when he's in a really pressed game, and I watched a lot of him with Washington face off against the Cowboys, and he didn't win. The guy will throw 400 yards. 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. But they won't win games. And those are in losses. That's his stat line in losses. Look at the games Kirk Cousins has won. 200 and something yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, an interception, a fumble, something, some turnover that ensued during the game. Because Kirk can't win the big one. Yeah, I like him and you know what? I'll even go off the cusp and say I thought Kirk was going to be the answer for the Vikings. I like Case Keenum last year. And looking at Kirk Cousins now, I like Case Keenum more. Because at least Case Keenum was fighting for something. Case Keenum was just happy to be the starter. Case Keenum was glad to be in that position. Kirk's just he's copying the dollar bills. He's making the money. The Vikings are going to be in for a rude awakening. Because next year he's due $29 million. The year after that he's due $31 million. They're going to be against the cap. Not going to be able to sign guys. A guy like Anthony Barr, his contract is due. The rest of that defense, Sendejo, Harrison Smith, Rhodes. Man, you may want to keep those guys. Trey Waynes. What's going to happen? But you've already gave all of this money to Kirk Cousins, and now he's going to cost you because they can't win games. And I guarantee you, in the wild card round, granted that the Vikings are even still in it, and give me some time here because I want to actually bring up the Vikings' next couple games. And speaking of 7 points, I still don't even say they got 7. That's a 21-0 game. The Vikings were out of the whole time. The Seahawks had 100 yards rushing near halfway into the second quarter. Finished with 200. That's all they did was run the ball. Chris Carson, 22 for 90. Russell Wilson, 7 for 61. Rashad Penny, 8 for 44. Mike Davis, 3 for 22. They ran the ball all over these cats. The Vikings are in trouble at 6-1. And any team behind them, be it that it's them, Carolina, Philly manages to find a way to beat the Rams Sunday, which they won't, and they manage to win the next 3 games, these teams are in trouble. Literally. Now, Russell Wilson. This kid's going to be a problem in the playoffs. He's going to be a problem. Because he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's had enough time to get better. He won a game only passing for 72 yards. That's a little over half the field. And he won. Against a formidable Vikings defense. They're still top 10. His best run was like 30 yards. And they won the game 21-7. Defense too. No, mind you, his defense helped out a lot. But again, that's what I'm going back to. Defense is going to be the deciding factor against these offenses that think they're just going to chunk the ball over the field, put up 35, 40 points. Ladies and gentlemen, that only lasts so long. Because now the Rams aren't winning games by that margin. Saints are skating by the Bucks 28-20. Pat Mahomes, albeit he's having an incredible season, could be the next MVP, having a hard time. It's going to get tougher on these teams. And that's a fact. When we return, I'll get into the NFC and AFC playoff picture. I'll give you a little slight thing of what I think about all of these teams and how they're going to fare come playoff time. This is Spot On Sports. We're not just accurate, but spot on. We'll see you guys in a moment. Welcome back to Spot On Sports, everyone. We appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching this show, watching this podcast. This is SOS Nation, a part of Spot On Sports. Again, where we're not just accurate, but spot on. And if you're not watching this now, you'll be watching this soon. Powered by GEEKLETES, come compete, conquer. Getting into the NFC and AFC picture. And I'll start with the AFC. Chiefs sitting at 11-2, Patriots at 9-4, the Texans sitting at 9-4, Steelers at 7-5. Those are your division leaders. Coming in behind them, Chargers at 10-3, the Ravens at 7-6. I'll get started with the Chiefs. Andy Reid, not a playoff guy, but this is the best shot he has to be able to reach a Super Bowl. The only team that's possibly going to get in his way is the San Diego Chargers. Because they have the opportunistic defense, opportunistic turnover defense to make a young guy like Pat Mahomes turn the ball over 2 or 3 times when the pressure is on. And then they have a guru quarterback guy like Phillip Rivers that can stay in it, that can win these types of games. Granted that he doesn't do the same thing, but the Chiefs don't have the defense to even give Phillip Rivers a hard time. That is the team that they do not want to see. The New England Patriots, I talked about it earlier, 9-4, vulnerable. But when these playoffs come, I don't care if you're the Steelers, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Texans, or the Chiefs, I'm going with Tom Brady. The guy with 5 rings. The guy that's been there 5 out of 6 times. Like, literally, every year you've been watching Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Nearly every year. Why should I change it even because he's just a little bit older? As long as him and Bill Belichick are still commandeering that ship, I'm going with them. The Texans, they finally botched it. They finally botched it to the Indianapolis Colts. But the defense is still good. I still like what Deshaun Watson is doing. We try to write off Bill O'Brien every single season. But every single season, he kind of writes us off and makes us wrong. Pittsburgh. I went on and on about them for about 20 minutes earlier. Big Ben, Jesus Christ. See that? Le'Veon's not even there. Hopefully James Conner is back. He's been ruled out for Sunday. Juju, the coolest kid in the league. He may be my favorite receiver behind Julio. Antonio Brown's kind of agreed to take the back seat to him as long as he's getting his. The Steelers are going to be in the mix, but how long they'll last, I do not know. There could be some matchups they may not like. I don't like them against the Ravens, and I don't like them against the Chargers. Texans, Patriots, maybe, yeah. But I don't like them against the Ravens and Chargers at all. Speaking of the Chargers, 10-3. Beat the Steelers last week. And Phillip Rivers is coming. The best thing that could have happened for the opposing team is that they lost Melvin Gordon. Or I'll be probably saying that it's the Chargers who are going to the Super Bowl. But Joey Bosa's still there. Melvin Ingram's still there for that pass rush. They're still good on the back end. Derwin James is most likely going to be the defensive rookie of the year. In come the Ravens. Questions might start brewing up. Lamar Jackson or Joe Flacco. Lamar Jackson was the trigger that lit the behind of Joe Flacco up, which is why the Ravens were winning games at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately for them, Lamar can end up costing them games in the playoffs to teams that are used to being here, albeit the Chiefs, Patriots, and Chargers. And the Steelers. We're in for a good AFC. Moving on to the NFC, Saints at 11-2, Rams at 11-2, Bears at 9-4, Cowboys at 8-5. Those are your division leaders. Coming behind them, Seahawks at 8-5, Vikings at 6-1. Started with the Saints. If it runs through the Superdome, it's going to run to the Super Bowl. And the Saints are probably going to be there. Most likely. The Saints are probably going to go to the Super Bowl. New Orleans fans, all you can say, be on Bourbon Street. Get ready. The Rams. Told you. They're gonna, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and tie this with the Saints and the Rams together. They're gonna run into these defenses and they're gonna have problems because Seattle, the Bears, and the Cowboys each have them. Defenses, they're gonna show up and play, and defenses travel no matter where they go. Unfortunately for the Rams, even if they have a divisional game, it's not even home field advantage because that's not even their stadium. And who doesn't want to go play football in LA in 80-degree weather? That's fortunate for the opposing team. Looking at the Bears, Soldier Field. I'm telling you, this defense is good. Mitchell Trubisky and Dak Prescott kind of stand on the same scale. I'll take Dak over Mitchell, but Matt Nagy's he's got more to do with it, and he's got tangibles on that offense. Tariq Cohen, Jordan Howard, they can run the ball. That offense can score when needed to. But they get to take a backseat to the dynamic, opportunistic turnover defense that can win championships. Turnover defenses win championships. Beware the Bears. If they are coming, it will not be an easy game. How about them Cowboys? A month and a half ago, I wrote my own team off 3-5. The debacle in Tennessee that we all kind of thought they were going to win. Speaking of that, it was a funny video with Stephen A. Man, you guys got to go look at that video. It's guts with the I think it's like what could happen, what could go wrong, or an accident waiting to happen with the 4 on the back of his jersey. It was hilarious. But here come the Cowboys. And with the Cowboys come increased expectations. But these kids are on their mind frame is wired a little different than the Cowboys of old with Tony Romo and Jason Witten and Dez and those guys. They may be able to right the ship. Get a game. They may be able. The Cowboys, based off if the season ended today for them, they would play Seattle. And will probably go to Seattle because Seattle owns the tiebreaker between them. Here's the issue. I don't want to play Seattle. I don't want to play the Bears. Vikings, Saints, Rams, cool. I'll deal with it. I'll deal with the offenses. But I don't want to play teams that are pretty much the same as me. Pretty much have the exact same tangibles. Opportunistic defense with the Bears. Savvy defense with Seattle. You got a rock solid defense, Cowboys. Dak Prescott can't turn the ball over with fumbles, costly fumbles. Might not have to worry too much about interceptions because he doesn't throw much of those. But the inconsistencies is what will kill the Cowboys and the amount of sacks they've given up this season. Dak's been sacked about 50 times or greater. That's a recipe for disaster in the playoffs against a team like that can get after the quarterback. And honestly, all of these teams' defense can get after the quarterback, the Saints included. Rams have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, Michael Brockers. Bears have Khalil Mack and Hicks. Seattle can get after the passer. We know what the Vikings can do when they pin their ears back. Things will be tough for the Cowboys, but if they go about winning games that they have, then they will be just fine. I'll go to Seattle. Russell Wilson, aside from Drew Brees, the only quarterback in this thing that knows what he's doing. A quarterback that's been in the playoffs. He's been here every year. Beware of teams with quarterbacks that know what they're doing. Seasonal playoff veterans. These are the quarterbacks that can win those games. These are the quarterbacks that go out and they throw for 72 yards and a touchdown. And still come out with a victory. These are the quarterbacks you don't want to have to see. And if the Seahawks have to go play the Rams have already beaten them twice. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. Believe me, I know. We were victims of it. Cowboys beat the Giants twice in 2007. Came in that playoff round. Remember the Giants called lightning in the bottle? What happened? They beat the Cowboys at home. They go to Lambeau Field. They beat the Packers at home. And they're in the Super Bowl. And what happens? They beat Tom Brady. Now, a lot of us discredited Russell Wilson and his team. But they, behind the Cowboys, they have the next best win streak with 4 games. They got it right after that Rams game, just like Cowboys got it right after the Tennessee game. Dallas fans, I know we're riding high, but do not dismiss the opposition. There are challenges ahead come January. But you only got to get 2, and you're in. 3, excuse me. You got to get 3 in. We'll see how long this goes. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, they're big gamers. Possibly it could be the calling card for the Cowboys. Just play defense. Minnesota. I'll lump them in with the rest of with the Panthers at 6 and 7 and the Eagles at 6 and 7. The Redskins are going to play themselves out. Lo and behold, Aaron Rodgers gets right. That's what we don't want also. They're only 5-7-1. Once the rest of these teams lose out. And then the Packers are only 1 game behind the Vikings. Let's keep that in mind. If Kirk Cousins doesn't play out, he's Kirk third cousins or whatever cousin he is, and Aaron Rodgers slips into the playoffs, then you're looking at the Saints, Rams, Packers, Seahawks, Bears, and Cowboys. That'll set up a date between Chicago and Green Bay, which will possibly set up a date between Green Bay and the Saints, which the Saints will most likely win. But you don't want to have to deal with a guy like Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. That's not what I want. Closing thoughts. Crazy week. Rivera still believes Panthers have a shot at the playoffs. Possibly. I doubt it, but possibly. My fantasy football team, I don't even know if I'm winning. I was 8-2, and I lost 3 straight games. I put Derrick Henry on the bench, this guy rips off 48 points. I won 55-41. So I'll go to 9-5 on 9-4, 9-5 on the season. Kudos to me. Guys, this is Spot On Sports. This is SOS Nation on Spot On Sports. Please, appreciate everyone for watching this video. Thanks for taking an hour out of your time and listening to me ramble on about football. This is what I love to do, though. So I appreciate you guys for checking us out. Comment, rate, subscribe, drop us a like. Head to our Facebook page. Click the SOS emblem. Hit the link. Go to our YouTube page. Subscribe. These videos and more. We got more content, guys. We're doing a lot of good things. Follow SOS. If you're not watching us now, you'll be watching us later. But regardless, you're going to be watching us. Shout out Quincy. Shout out Zakari, Bruce, B-Walk, Brianna, Nicole, the whole gang. Doing good work. Catch us at the Cowboys and Buccaneers. We'll be at that game December 23rd. Quick thing. Fort Oak Cliff has allowed Spot On Sports team to join them for the holiday coat and toy drive. We ask that you can please donate unopened toys to be given to families. That will be great. Come on, guys. It's the season of giving. Give those unopened toys, the ones the kids probably never played with. Give it to us so we can give those to kids that are in need of. It's not a hoax. It's not a scam. We're really trying to, it's the Christmas spirit. Trying to get into it. So we appreciate you guys for helping us out with that. Thanks for watching this show. We'll see you guys next time.